in. Happy New Year to all of my emerging mothers. I hope you're doing well. Of course, I want to spend time with you before the new year comes, before it rolls in, before 2021 rolls in. I want to spend some time with you and just talk a little bit about some tips that you can encourage your teens towards as they're leaving home, of course, and going back to the college campus. And so this is what I'd like to share with you, because I have interviewed lots and lots of mothers, and they have mentioned to me, is my teen ready? Is my son ready to go off to the college campus? Is my daughter ready to go off to the college campus? And so I did a clip at the very beginning of the fall semester, and so that's in my Instagram feed, if you will. And so, but now what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a clip for those teens who are, of course, going back to the college campus now that they have spent, of course, the winter break with their families. So I am so excited to share these tips with you, because I know that for a number of mothers, whether you're a mother of a high school junior or a high school senior, and you're interested to know, what does this phase look like when, not necessarily when they're leaving home to go off in the fall, but when they're leaving home after their first break, winter break, and going back to the college campus, given what all we have faced, whether it's COVID, whether it's national unrest, and all of those different types of things. This is what I'd like to talk about today. So again, of course, this is for my mothers of high school juniors and seniors, and this is for my mothers who already have, like myself, daughters or sons on the college campus already. So this is, listen, tip number one. Before your college teen goes back onto the college campus, please encourage them to begin eating right again. I mean, we have eaten all the sugars we can eat since we've been home. We have eaten, of course, not only all of the sugars over the holiday, or all of the unhealthy foods, but encourage your teen, of course, to begin eating well again. Get back to that balanced diet. So when they hit the college campus again, then of course they're eating right. So that first and foremost. And then secondly, establish a routine. So we want to make sure that our sons and our daughters, welcome Karen. We want to make sure that our sons and our daughters, they're back on their routine. Of course, they are going to have new classes, of course, while they're on the college campus. Of course, they are going to incorporate these new classes with their work schedule, with their research lab schedule, of course. And these classes are at different times than they were in first semester. So we want to make sure that they reestablish that of course, that new routine. Then also, as they're reestablishing their routine, we want to make sure that, of course, they have some type of planning calendar to make sure that, of course, they are aligning that planning calendar, of course, not only with the class or their work schedule, but with that research lab. And guess what? If your son or your daughter is a member of a sorority or a fraternity, then we want to make sure that their social life is also intact as well, and they're making sure that they're having time for that. So number one, encourage your teens to go get back on their balanced eating diet, of course, so they're eating healthy, number one. Number two, we want to make sure that they're reestablishing that routine, so they're coinciding those classes, of course, their work schedule, also their research lab, and also their social life as well. So all of that is in balance. Then thirdly, listen, we want to make sure that we encourage our sons and encourage our daughters to, of course, make sure that they are reducing that stress. There's no reason to be stressed at all. They're leaving home, going back onto the college campus. And guess what, moms? We can make sure that we're helping them to reduce that stress, because guess what? We can remain in touch with what we're feeling and what we're thinking as well. When we are stressed, that's all the difference between us being assertive and us being reactive. Us experiencing stress and anxiety and frustration, it makes all the difference between us, of course, being poised and dignified, and us being frazzled and us looking and feeling exhausted. So let's please make sure that our emotions are intact. Because you know what we can do is we can make sure that we're enjoying the outdoors more. We can make sure that we're increasing our exercise, getting in our aerobics. We can make sure that our bodies are intact, because the fact of the matter is that motion dictates emotion. So let's make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row in reference to us remaining, or reducing rather, our frustration, our anxiety, and our stress. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, listen, let's encourage our teens to update their resumes. Listen, at some point, those career fairs are going to take place on the college campus, and they're going to seek employment. So let's make sure that we encourage them to keep that resume updated. Then also, listen, right now, before they leave and go off, because they probably have like a week or less left, let's make sure that they even entertain the idea of seeking employment. You know, they can seek employment for spring break when they come home. They can seek employment for the summer, of course. Let's make sure that we're encouraging them to use this time wisely to seek employment. Then also, listen, let me tell you all, hands down, at any given point, before they go back or after they go back, between now and the time they graduate, they ought to be pursuing scholarships. Listen, I know of an individual who actually graduated from Princeton and they left with 0 debt. Do you hear me? 0, 0, 0 debt. So while our teens are leaving home and going back on the college campus, that is tip number 6. They can be spending their time wisely by pursuing scholarships. It never fails. They have scholarships out there for everything. So again, going back over the list, number 1, we can encourage our teens, of course, to begin eating well. So while they're leaving home and going back to the college campus, let's encourage our teen to eat well and have that balanced diet. Now that they've eaten all the sweets in the world over the holidays. Number 2, reestablish that routine. Their classes are different. Of course, they can adjust their schedule. They can have some type of planner to make sure that their routine is on point. Then also, let's help them in reference to reducing that stress. Number 4, update that resume. They can certainly spend time doing that between now and the time they go back on the college campus. They can seek employment for when they come home, spring break, or when they come home for the summer. They can spend time between now and the time they leave doing that. The scholarships, number 6, let's make sure that they're entertaining that and making sure that they have some dollars coming in to help pay that tuition. Number 7, let's make sure and encourage them to spend time with family. Spend time with mom, spend time with dad. And guess what? There's even, I think about my oldest daughter who will be graduating in May. She jingled an individual today who attends our church, who encouraged her, gave advice all throughout the time she was in high school and in college, sends her cards, of course, sends her gifts. So she reached out to Miss Marvine today to schedule some time for them to do lunch. And so also, guess what? Principals of the school who encouraged you. Also teachers. You know, our students can spend time, or our teens can spend time jingling them up and spending time with them and talking to them. Also, number 8, listen, let's make sure that they are reading. These are new classes that they're taking. My husband tells both of my daughters who are in college, listen, those textbooks are your best friends. So let's encourage them to start their reading. Let's pull out that syllabus and take a peek at that syllabus and make sure that we have a crystal clear clue of what needs to take place once they hit that campus. Number 9, they can definitely help clean up around this house, of course, and do some cooking. So when you get back, you still know how to cook and you still know how to clean that room, so that when I visit, of course, it is not a total disaster. And then last but not least, for those who are graduating, listen, let's spend time taking those graduation pictures. Why would we wait until spring semester? Let's take them right here, right now. And then guess what? If your senior has already landed a job, they're starting their career after May, this is a good time to research that company so you can walk in there with a level of confidence. You can walk in there with an idea of what you'll be doing. You may not know everything, but you will know something of what you're doing. And so these are 10 tips, mothers, I am encouraging you to encourage your teens to do as they're leaving this winter break and heading back to the college campus. Listen, I am going to be hosting, facilitating a 9-day workshop that will begin January the 19th all the way to the 27th. It's absolutely complimentary. I will be sharing tips such as these. Please join me. There will be a registration link that I will send out on social media that, of course, you'll be able to register and then be able to enjoy more of these ideas. Listen, if you're not within our Facebook community just yet, I encourage you to join us. My name is Dr. Michelle Lloyd. I will help to facilitate some of these conversations and hoping that my mothers are able to talk more and interact with one another. And so I'll be dropping some questions in there so that they're able to do that. I am so glad you connected with me and you joined me here before we entered into 2021. I appreciate and love you all, and I look forward to seeing you next year. Take care. Bye-bye.